Okie. Yo.
Snowstorm too, man. Fuck.
Holy shit. When's it going to stop snowing?
Dude, last night was a bitch, man. But
No,
it was still pretty soft, like
Are you
overall.
recording?
Yes, sir.
Sorry to check. Sorry, go.
Well, what were you going to say off brand about
Yeah,
snow?
I was gonna say.
From the snow. Where were we going to go with this? I'm curious.
I like to know.
I'm just curious. We were talking about snow and you're like, hold on. I had to hold my tongue here.
What could you possibly have to say?
Nothing. I just want.
It was a cocaine joke, wasn't it? It was a cocaine joke.
Which snow are we talking about?
Yeah.
Just talking? What's the show about? It's about nothing. It's about nothing.
Just want these guys to know you got another thing coming, bitch. I'm still around.
But yeah, a lot of friggin' snow. And I saw your tweet, Randy, where you were like, had to shovel because of to be beyond the street.
Dude, yeah, I came home from the gym actually. That was even the worst part. It was like a good lift. And I was like, all right, I should probably move the snow. There's like, I don't know where like all the bande were, but it was just aunties shoveling the driveway at 10 p.m. by themselves. I was like, fuck, I could like do this maybe 20 minutes easy with my snowblower. Or I'll do it manually like the other woman on my street. And I did it manually, man. It took me a fucking hour.
Why would you do that?
There was a bit of pride there.
Fuck it.
My
Robbie would
neighbor,
have like taken up the snowblower, blown
No,
it
I
all
would've
away,
just- I
sat
would-
down
I-
and
I-
drank chow watching them shovel.
I would have done mine and then offered to do theirs. That's what a good neighbor would do. But Randy let them suffer as he suffered.
I
just
was
so he could one up them.
I started behind. I started behind,
So it was a
and
race
one of
for you.
them already did the sidewalk up to my driveway. Like, what was it gonna do?
Pull out the snowblower, bro.
Yeah. Then I was like, "Don't worry, guys. In the morning, when the wall comes, I'll take care of the snowblower." But they got up before me and took care of it. So it's pure bestie.
This guy, man, I swear to God, I didn't know it was gonna snow this much until I woke up, and I look outside, I'm like, holy shit, that's actually a lot. And then I did half of it, or I did like 75% of it in the morning, and then the other.
Do you think it is actually a lot, or are we just getting psyched out by it?
No,
Like 2 weeks, then we get
felt
like
like
the
a
grass
lot.
is showing, and the sun's
it's
back
still-
out, and then all
like,
of a
it's gonna
sudden
melt,
shit's on us
obviously.
again.
But this felt
Yeah,
like
we had-
one of the heavier ones of the season.
yeah, but overall, we're winning. Compared to normal winter, this is
We're
this is
winning.
all.
This has
Yeah.
been more than last winter, though.
No, really?
No,
I think so. I feel like it's been more.
last winter you had that one motherfucker storm. You guys, that's the exact description of it. That one motherfucker storm when the snow was up to like the top of doors.
See, but that's the thing, right? We get a snowfall, then it gets warm again.
And it melts away.
So we get psyched out. We think, oh yeah, okay, no big deal. Winter's easy, and then we get another dumping, and then we're all complaining. So it's not as bad.
I thought we were I thought we were in the clear here. I thought it was done for good. We're just gonna get through the soggy weather and it's gonna warm up. But man, one kudos to you for freaking going to the gym during a storm, coming home from the gym to shovel. Like what the fuck? I haven't been to the gym in like 2 weeks.
Kudos to go to the gym.
My
Forget the storm.
my January shtick of like I'm on it, I'm working out every day. Gone ass. Haven't done anything ever since COD Ranked Play came out. I just an Apex. It's just like let me just get a few more reps in there. Limited time, and now I got fuck man. But fortunately,
It's hard. It is hard to find time and motivation though. Like I know people like I can always find time, but it's not easy.
I don't know. Last 2 weeks were just busy schedule wise. Like my schedule there was a deviation in my regular schedule of programming. Flew out to BC and then came back. Wife went out to on her trip to Vegas, and then all these things. They just like that one change in timing. All of a sudden, I'm like, well, I can't work out those 3 days, and now it's day 6. Like, what happened? It just like falls apart, and I'm like, fuck. And now, luckily, now I don't got to compete against Ranji. I just got to compete against Rob because Ranji conveniently remembered that he has a hockey tournament.
Not conveniently, it got scheduled, and I don't have a say. I voted against that day, but I got voted against.
He's looking for a cop out. He copped out. Him and Gugner are in the same boat here. One used a fake injury.
Wait, no,
This
no,
other
no,
guy
no,
used
no.
a fake hockey tournament. It's all
No, no.
good.
I joined. I've at least joined. I still didn't bow
So
out
hold
yet.
on. There's more than one 10K in a summer.
Sure.
Just do it
Are we
later
just
on in the year.
rescheduling? Is that what we're saying?
No,
We're
no,
gonna
I'm still gonna run the first one, but we can.
If there's one in June, I'll run one. My June's pretty open.
This guy has a wedding season's gonna kick in full gear. This guy's gonna be
Yeah,
like,
he's gonna
guys.
say, "Oh, I got a wedding engagement, my
Dude,
All I know is we
May,
gave
August, boom, I'm done. June, July, I'm okay.
for now.
But you're like looking forward to it. That's the difference.
Oh,
Like, look
yeah.
how happy he is. He has the biggest smile on his face.
Like already practicing his Bangla routines. They're already out shopping.
Actually, literally, yeah. I've already done my shopping.
You buy new suits like every new year just for wedding season?
I buy them
Be
anyways.
honest. Yeah,
But
I know, but like, do you like special ones? Like, oh, this is gonna be a big event.
Only if it's like a close wedding. So this year I got like a kurta pajama thing made just for a close
I try to do
wedding.
the opposite. I try to see how many weddings I can get to with the same suit.
Yeah, I know. Everyone can tell.
I know.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I haven't bought a new suit in ages. It's
I
really
hate suit
something more
shopping,
fun.
man. Yeah.
Talking
I get
about
new suits made every year. It's sick.
But yo, someone mentioned this the other day that there's a lot more swearing in Punjabi songs. Have you noticed that
Is
at
that-
halls and stuff?
What kind of swearing? Like Punjabi swearing or English when they throw in English into the song?
I've heard more English swearing.
Yeah.
Like a little bit more F bombs.
Really?
Like,
I know Sidhu had a few, but who else is putting into music?
Look, Karan Aujla dropped a great album. And my mistake, I listened to it live first time with my kid in the car. And at the end of his like one of his
Yeah, okay.
first
I know what
tracks,
you're saying. Yeah.
he has this dude just going off, in a monologue. And like I was reached the volume, quickly turn it down, fine. But he does it in a lot of other tracks too. Why is that necessary? It makes no fucking sense as to why we need that.
Is that the cool factor?
But again, like this is not the 90s or 2000s where look, there's a lot to unpack in what I'm going to say next, where you have some kala, mean mugging kala looking really badass to be to add some sort of street cred. Like, come on, there's so many like tropes in that we can like disregard. Let me just get to the point of it. The only reason why that guy's in there is to add some sort of like mean mugging street cred to Garnal's music. I don't know, but we don't need that. We definitely don't need that anymore. Like it used to be music that you could actually listen to and not have to worry about F-bombs being dropped.
Do you think that's more? Do you think it's more the artist or the producer? Like if you listen to Dr. Zeus's old stuff, he'd throw a rapper in there, and it never made any sense. He didn't need the rapper.
Yeah,
It was probably the worst part of it. It was like the worst part of the song. It's like you don't need this, and it continues. Even Babu Mon throws in rappers. Like, what was the need for any of that, right? So,
You think the whole rap in Punjabi thing is done? That era's. That's what I'm kind of hearing.
no.
No?
You think so?
Now there's
question because you guys
now
seem
there's real rappers, real Punjabi rappers, and I say that because these guys can actually the Punjabi speakers, native Punjabi speakers, who are rapping. It's not somebody born here.
Was Sidhu a rapper? Would you quantify his music as
no, his was very much. His felt more Punjabi singing.
He was a hybrid. I'd say hybrid. He did have a rap style.
But it didn't feel like he was trying to rhyme his words.
Yeah.
He was more melodic with the word choice than it was like a rhyme composition type thing. At least from little that I listened to. Like you listen to guys like the rappers from here, like the Fatehes or the Maltons, where they try to pick Punjabi words that rhyme with each other or try to make a rap cadence. I didn't feel like Sidhu was ever trying to do that type thing.
Yeah, but if you look at the guys you mentioned, like Sonny Malton, for example, pioneer in the game, great guy, but he is an English speaker, and his rap and style and flow and everything is very, very different than someone like Wazir and Jordan Sandhu. I don't even know if you guys have heard these guys, but They're native
So,
Punjabi
so
speakers.
is Jordan Sando a rapper?
There's two. The one that it makes
Oh, the one
tracks
we all
with
listen to.
Wuzzer. The one that makes tracks with Wuzzer, yeah,
Yeah.
I would say he's a rapper.
Okay.
And yeah, they have their flow is great. Like their vocabulary is so deep that they can make shit rhyme and flow way better rather than someone who's like a first gen Canadian who picked up English and Punjabi at the same time. I think those guys have an edge because their music sounds amazing.
So then
Anyways,
what's your
they,
kid
they
react?
also don't swear. They also don't fucking swear.
How'd your kid
As,
react?
as
to
I
it?
swear.
How'd your kid
Dude,
react to it?
I'm trying to keep the F bombs away from him. It's getting harder and harder because he
Ever?
wants to listen to like Garnage and all these guys. And I have to like memorize when to put the volume down. And I miss it. There's a red light. I'm making a left turn. Like I'm not focused on what's playing exactly, right?
This
So
guy is instant DJing
But
and doing
do,
the.
do you think? I don't think it's that prevalent. That it needs a parental advisory on the music. It's not. It's maybe one or two tracks, and it's like a small.
I'm pretty sure if you go on Spotify, Garnage's entire album has explicit next to it. Every track.
No. I'm just saying. I'm sure there is, but it's not the entirety of the track, right? I mean, it's not. I don't think the music's turning into full on hip hop, or it's just every other line is swear words, right?
I mean, like Punjabi music, the production quality is great. Like our Punjabi friend Danny, Danny the Jew, the Russian Jew. he listens to it. Like he says it. He messages me randomly. Like, dude, like why is there rap in Punjabi music? But he's listening to it at 2 a.m. on his own. Just messaged me. He asked
Going
me to
down
name the track and
crazy
shit like that.
rabbit
Yeah,
hole.
yeah. But our production quality is that great. AP Sidhu has, I mean, I hate his genre, but I like his music in his genre. He is mainstream now. There goes Robbie. He's mainstream Canadian. Like he's everywhere. He is popular enough that Gore know about him. That's cool to see. And it's all because our production quality has gone up, but it'd be nice if we stuck to some of our cultural traditions of making music. It could be whatever subject matter, but at least make it somewhat clean, man.
But there's folk singers.
Maybe
for
it's
that,
just
no?
different. Maybe it's just a different type of music, though. Right, different stream of music.
What do you
I
mean?
mean, Dozy covers some of that kind of more traditional type of music as some of his tracks, right? We'll go more folk with the sound, with the lyrics, with the content of it. And then you have this new kind of, I guess, more pop, if you want to call it that, in terms of
From the
coming on music where it's,
streets.
yeah, it's like a mix of, trying to be trap and Punjabi and everything all at once.
You think
Trying
the
to
guys,
cater. I think they're just trying to cater to our ears.
What do you
who
think
have just
the
grown
guys
up
who are
listening to all
doing
different music.
the guys in Malton doing Gideon in the middle of the night at Westwood Mall?
That was
What do you think they're listening to?
Sidhu.
You guys see this clip?
Yeah.
Carolyn Parrish, the
Parrish.
counselor of Mississauga, representing Malton, actually. She posted it saying Westwood Mall needs to be, we need enforcement here. The families surrounding Westwood Mall can't stand this noise. And I don't blame them. It's a pretty residential area, but I didn't even
It's
realize
it's not a war zone. It's not a war zone.
But it's private. It's private property. Surely they could just call the cops and that's it. It's the end of it.
kind of crazy though that I'm sure cops get called. Cops are right there, man. There's always cops in that area too.
Okay, or put barricades on the entrance points.
Pretty
and,
sure there's
you
a
know,
police reporting station in that mall.
Well, the plazas in my neighborhood, they have this like congregation of students every summer night. It's pretty legendary. It's so busy. The intersection in my neighborhood, you're waiting
Sheridan
forever to
Plaza
like
Mall.
get here. Yeah. But there's a police presence there now, just because you get the field hockey stick fights a few times, things get on social media, and then now you have a police presence there, and it is calmed down now. Now you just have a lot of people parked with the lights on, music up, but parked. And cops will roll through on the Giri route. Like that's what it is.
We haven't seen a proper music video there yet, though.
It's been a while. It's been a while. There used to be.
Really?
Yeah.
Probably aren't
I'll-
applying for the permits.
No,
Yeah.
shit, ain't no one trying to get permits. But it's insane where the culture's headed that way. But talking about culture headed somewhere, you guys hear about this Nimrata Kaur Randhawa running for president of America? Like, who would have thought?
Jackie for president?
Put the full name, eh? Put respect on the name.
Put respect on Nimrata's name, bro. She's representing us.
Is she?
Not in
No.
the slightest. What the fuck?
It's almost like she doesn't want anyone to know that what her name really was when she's growing up and what she is.
I mean, are her policies any good that we even want to take that her election or her position?
Well, it
pride?
depends on what policies you like, because she's pretty anti-gay. She's pretty anti-trans. She's pretty anti everything that we've been told.
She's a Trumper, right? She's a former Trumper.
She was, yeah, she was.
She sounds pretty Punjabi so far, but
Brandy's like, I'm here waiting for you to tell me something that I don't like about her. No, she's really hardcore conservative.
Conservative, yeah.
Yeah, she was under Trump. She served as the UN ambassador of the U.S. in the UN. So Trump liked her enough. She's running for a Republican ticket for president, which eventually she'll lose and then become vice president. She just wants to get on someone's vice president thing, I think. That's my guess. But interesting. In the past, she totally ignored her Punjabi heritage. And now in her presidential video, she's trying to say, well, I'm not black or white. I'm different.
really.
Yeah. So.
Oh
maybe
yeah,
she's-
she always ignored like her brownness. I never knew her to embrace it. Like you alluded to it. She's a successful politician. She's killed it under Trump's reign and slowly rose up the ranks of the Republican Party, where she is one of the stars, I guess, if you want to
I
call
mean,
it
let's be fair.
that.
She was also the governor of South Carolina. So.
Yeah, which
Literally
you know,
done. I mean, become governor is a
I
pretty
didn't
big
know
deal
that.
too.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Yeah.
So.
yeah. So power to her. She has a successful career in politics, but she always
Does she speak Punjabi though?
She can understand it to a degree. It's like very Western Punjabi. Like, if you go to Hanji, nods your head, and like listen intently. In 2013,
Oh, she's not. She's not saying like "get on" to her staffers and shit, right?
No,
That'd be
no.
awesome.
I mean,
No.
yeah. In 2013, she went to the Badsab, and there's a video of that, and she was like first time there, and she's like crying and saying, "This is just a very special moment for me."
why she's not sick.
Well,
Yeah, she's converted.
well, she was checking out where her parents would have told her to go, man.
Right.
And she got like sit open from the SGPC and everything, and they were like asking her. Some people were saying something in Punjabi, and she kind of like muttered something back. It was interesting. I was watching the press conference. So it's a very westernized. It's what most whitewashed Punjabis would respond to her answer was, and that's what she is. She's like really thing, but she's kind of acknowledged her Punjabiness a little bit, and I think part of it is knowing that she's going to be attacked on it from when you're playing with the alt right or like the hard right. They're gonna go after you. And Ann Coulter,
And Coulter.
Ann Coulter, my fucking bad.
Coulter.
Ann Coulter.
Okay, we know you can't speak. Yeah.
I know I can't speak. Ann Coulter, she was mocking her for not being a true, blonde-eyed white. A blonde-haired, green-eyed,
Blonde hair, blue-eyed.
blue-eyed,
Come
whatever, man. My brain is
What
freaking
is
fried.
Dude, that was
Late at night.
painful. That was fucking painful, man.
Anyways, Ann Coulter.
Coulter.
Coulter. I'm gonna retire. Talking is not my strong suit, man.
This is a train wreck. All right. So she's already in the
anyways,
hate for
she's getting
embracing
the
her
hate.
brown side.
Yeah, or being brown. So I think part of her campaign strategy was, listen, just open the doors and go with it right from the start. Get it out of the way. It's
I mean,
that
it doesn't
Eminem diss
hurt
track.
at this. I mean,
It worked for Kamala.
you know, yeah.
Oh man,
The other funny part is like on the same vein as Nikki. There's I think the Gujarati guy. I think he's Gujarati. He's also running.
Bobby Jindal.
No, his name's like Vivek something.
But Bobby Jindal's another great one.
Yeah, so he's also running, and he also is from that like same spectrum of like Republican Party guys, who's really outspoken. I think he's a doctor, But again, yeah, like he doesn't have a changed name. He's quite an obvious brown dude. Whereas Nikki Haley, I mean, she got like that fair skin thing going working for her. She just looks like a South Carolina chick who's got that great tan with a Nikki Haley name that I guess she married into Haley. But yeah,
mean, there are other.
is this a W, or is this representation for our community at the highest seat, or is it a nothing burger?
The
It was a
nothing
nothing
burger.
burger. It's a nothing burger. I
but
mean,
he-
it wasn't that like I have her name here, Harmeet Dillon, when she did her DOS at the Republican Party convention.
But at least her meat
You know,
Dillon still like represents Punjabi. She still acknowledges that she's Punjabi, and then
no, but was it a big deal? You're kind of like, yeah, whatever. I mean, now when you see a Punjabi liberal, do we really care?
so I think here's what I'll say: if Hermeet Dillon was a Republican and did an ardas at like the opening of some Republican convention, everyone would be fawning over her. Because it was at a Trump rally, everyone was trying to like brush it under the rug, like, yeah, it
fair
happened,
enough.
but let's not associate too much with this. And that's where I think people are getting kind of, there's been some sort of contention over Nikki. Are people hating on her for leaving her Punjabiness aside because she's a Republican? And would she get as much hate if she was this same person, but, a Democrat? And I think it's still a nothing burger regardless of what party she is.
I mean, I feel like she's getting a lot of love from the community these days, but unwarranted or unearned. She hasn't earned it. I mean, she made it there by trying not to look like us, talk like us, act like us, and be like us, and she fucking killed it. So props to her on that. But now that she's there, she might want to, for whatever reason, for polling reasons, obviously, want to bring up, certain aspects of her heritage, or not the heritage of her identity or her background. But that's just for her benefit. It's not for us. I mean, she's not going to do any happy Visakhi State of the Union address, right? Anytime soon if she's president. So, yeah, it's just for her, and it's not only for the community.
We don't really care
don't
at this
care.
point, do we?
I don't care, yeah.
Most we don't really care. I mean, I think Sudden hitting defense minister was a big deal, right? Like
No. Wait. We don't care about her, but like we still strive for representation today. What's his face?
Oh, the guy who got suggested by Biden.
MasterCard? The former
Yeah,
Oh
MasterCard.
man, it's gonna kill me that I don't know his
Ojala?
name.
Wasn't it something Ojala? I forget his name.
No.
I know what you're talking about. The former MasterCard CEO.
Bunga. He's got nominated, pretty much nominated, air quotes. He's gonna get the nod and be, World Bank president. I mean, we aspire for that kind of representation at the highest levels. We want it. It's a
What if Biden just in his old age?
pat on the back.
Hold on.
It's a pat. Yeah.
What if Biden in his old age was like, "Yo, I'm gonna bring Manmohan Singh back," and he's like, "You had the trip, and Manmohan Singh get in there," and they're like, "Whatever, I'm gonna go with it."
I mean, once it's
Biden.
been done, do you think we care again? Like, this guy's the world. We won't care that. I mean, if someone does it again, or it's not a big deal.
Look,
right?
it's also a fatigue because we went through the whole, there's more Sikhs in cabinet here than in India, and all of a sudden they done shit we had like one of the worst eras of Sikh representation when Trudeau went to India in light of it, right? So it's kind of like, doesn't even matter anymore, is where I kind of hits me. It's kind of like, yeah, Jagmeet, congrats. I was happy when he became the leader of the NDP. Yeah, we got, a potential future prime minister sitting there, and now look at him. It's kind of like, I don't know if I really want to vote for you anymore.
But if it happened again, it's not a big deal, right? I mean that.
In Canada, yeah.
I mean, and significance again is not as
So, like, let's take this example. Pierre becomes prime minister, and he gives Tim Opal the nod to be defense minister. Are we shaking each other's hands like, we made it? Or is it, I think it's kind of like, yeah, congrats, man. Don't fuck it up like the last guy.
No, but I mean, okay, let's just, for Obama, if there's another African-American president, is it going to have, and it's still going to be incredible feat, but do you think the world's going to be like, oh my God, all over again? No, I think it's, it's just,
One and done.
we move on. Yeah, that's the problem with it all, right?
A Punjabi PM would be a big deal. A Punjabi president would be a big deal,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
right?
But a
We
Punjabi
haven't
vice
broken.
president.
I mean, it's a big deal in America. Any Punjabi doing anything other than owning a Subway or a gas station. Oh, come on. Okay, fine. The doctors are there too.
You guys really don't like those American C6, eh?
Right.
I'm just waiting. We have more doctors and engineers in America than convenience store owners. But yeah, this guy went straight to the motel owners.
No,
Yeah,
no,
no.
our Gujju friends are the motel owners, but yeah, I mean, for them, they really are missing that representation. It'd be good if one of the powerhouse countries in the world has a Punjabi guy there. It'd be pretty crazy considering we're 30 million now, 35 million in the world.
Punching above
Like,
our weight politically.
yeah,
Again.
so it's good. I mean, that's great. It's great. At the very least, it's inspiration for some kid. Maybe one of ours, probably not, because we're all stupid and the genes flow bad. But maybe one of them, maybe one of them will aspire to work a little bit harder, right? And that barrier will be broken to other people, right? When they see a Punjabi kid, they won't think, okay, like, you know, who is this? What are they? What's his background? They'll probably know about us a little bit more, and then we won't be the other as much. The bandage will already be ripped off. So overall, look, congrats, Nikki Haley. Do your thing, girl.
Yeah. Talking
You
about
do you.
Talking about
You do you.
representation, though. You guys hear about how China's been trying to get its representation in here? Front page,
What
Globe and Mail
exactly is
story.
going on? Yeah, is it? Are they saying like China got liberals in power, or they interfered, or what's the allegation?
So CSIS reports came out that the Chinese state directly influenced certain areas in favor of liberal candidates and liberal fundraising. They basically wanted the liberals to the TLDR. They wanted a liberal government because they thought they could have their way with the liberals over the conservatives or any other party. They wanted Trudeau in there. Their means of doing it are, they find shell corps who attend fundraisers and fundraise for potential candidates that are pro-Chinese or pro-China within the Liberal Party. And yeah, just
Fundraisers, like
raise funds.
you can't buy a ticket through a business. You have to buy it personally. Anyways,
Whatever. So you're finding these people who are sympathetic that you can pay out to do this stuff, and you have enough money that you're influential enough as a lobby that you're getting people to lobby for this
I
certain
mean,
thing.
why are we surprised?
Not
America's
really.
been doing this.
I gotta, yeah. You know what? I think this is like a red herring or misdirection. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, the Guardian newspaper, a big paper in UK, had an expose about Israel and a cell of like Israeli agents influencing elections all over the world. We talk about China openly. China's always discussed in the media as being interfering in politics. I mean, it's probably one of our topics today, but we allude to India interfering with politics too. It seems like every major, and Russia, that got Trump in power apparently. It looks like every major power in the world influences politics. Why are we talking about this now?
I think it's more that it's whenever new evidence comes out. So there must have been enough evidence that CSIS was able to document it, and that document got reported. But I think it's just hey, we read this thing that a government party has actually identified actual cases of this, where a lot of it comes down as hearsay because these countries don't, like with India meddling. How much actual evidence do we have that connects them versus here we know it's you, but we can't connect all the dots, right?
Other than CISA saying that, we suspect it, like that's all you get, right? I mean,
you don't get like the official report, and I think that's the
I mean,
difference.
remember China was setting up police stations all over Toronto. Like, this is like to hear that they're influencing politics. Yeah, probably. Like, come on. They were setting up physical interrogation centers in the city, and we're thinking that they're not meddling in our politics. Come on, man.
I feel like Canada has the least amount of political interference elsewhere. whereas every other country tries to sway elections or get at least sympathetic candidates so that their foreign agenda or whatever I don't even think it's so much for spying. I think it's just have a friendly voice in other governments.
I mean, think about lobbyists in the U.S. The amount of money that they pay some of these politicians, or how you don't know where the money's coming from. Could be a corp to a corp to a corp, which is an international influence of another. I mean, this has been in politics from day one, right? It's money that influences power. I'm just not surprised. I just think CISA should do a better job of maybe stopping this or get to the bottom of it or make a new process that you can't. But I mean, is it going to happen? For sure.
But is it illegal? I feel like they should just come out
if
and
you get
openly
caught,
endorse.
If you get caught, yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Like generally,
If you
like the consulate's not writing endorsement letters about one candidate versus another. I think during the American election with Trump, Canada started making the Canadian ambassador was like saying some stuff that America like wagged its finger at us for a little bit. But I think the general practice is there was some story like that came out. I don't know if it was during the election or nothing, but they basically said stop interfering in the election with your, and maybe it was just Trudeau or people in our government kind of saying we don't want Trump or making statements against Trump, and they're like, you guys need to stop talking about this election. But yeah, to Robbie's point, not surprising. Maybe it puts it on other people's radars a bit more, but it is kind of interesting that China thinks of Canada so highly, I guess.
I think we're getting to a point in time though where a lot of these governments are going unchecked. And they're pushing that button. They're pushing that button. I'm sure they're getting caught and sending balloons over or whatnot. But look at India right now, right? Like with the BBC, they raided the offices over a documentary. They've raided Twitter offices before. Like it's getting to a point where the narrative of control. These governments are trying to control the story completely, and then influence other countries how they are perceived and their governments. I mean, it's just going unchecked. And so that's the question: how do we control that? I mean, that's the bigger question, right? How do we ensure that the political process, or at least our electoral process, is kept untainted, if you will, if I could use that word, from this? But I think it's a difficult task. It's been happening forever, but now it's to a point where they're like, yeah, we did it.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Fool me once. You know what I mean? So
and Canada to your question that you put out there, Shinda, like Canada kind of is like a great target for a lot of countries because we are like the soft, unprotected way of like getting at the U.S. because we're their biggest trading partner. We have such close ties with them. Things that happen to us have an impact on the U.S. Either directly or indirectly, right? So I think we're like a key battleground. They could put fund money into Canada, which will make its way to the U.S. if they needed to, right? So, yeah, I think it's not being a geopolitical expert, it still seems like a pretty obvious fucking way of attacking the U.S.
What do you think it says about the liberal government when China sees? Now, I don't know if they saw the liberal government as weak. That's why they wanted them in power, or what the actual thing there is. But do you think it reflects poorly on those parties that get these foreign backings?
I think I don't think it's party specific. I think it's both parties. I mean, the liberals are just the ones in power right now. I'm sure it's happened to conservatives. Hell, I'm sure it's happened to the NDP. Who knows, right? I mean, I don't think it's for the one party. I think it's just politics. I mean, do you guys think it's just the liberals?
I think in this case, it seemed like this is what we want. Maybe at a certain time in history, there was the time when they wanted conservatives in power.
Yes, because Iron Hand Andrew Scheer would have toppled in China in 2 seconds. I can't even say it seriously. It's so funny.
Peter O'Toole.
Yeah. Yeah. The iron hand of the mortgage broker. No, insurance agent.
One day insurance. In one day, where we work today or something like that.
Yeah, no. I mean, it doesn't make sense why they would think the Conservative Party's a threat. It makes no sense. Their leaders are Up until now, they haven't had a viable leader. So
Unless they kind of knew the Liberals were going to win, so they're like, okay, let's favor the party. They win, we'll have more control.
and get our people, or
People
people
in,
favorable
and now
to
they
us
have
in there. Yeah,
and if they have a majority government, hey, guess what? Now we can influence what we want passed.
Yeah.
Who cares about the Conservatives at that point? I don't think it's about a week, or it's whoever they think is going to win.
It's the wave.
You know?
Yeah, if there's a wave coming,
Yeah.
let's have our people in the wave. That's all
Or
it
it could
is.
be, or it could they could have been doing both sides. The Liberals are just the one who got caught. Like, you don't know. Who knows?
I don't even know it was liberals getting caught so much as it was CSIS catching the Chinese interfering with this in this situation. Like, I don't think the parties are actively like seeking out dinners with politicians or with these lobbyists for foreign nations. I think it just. I think it
But I
works the
mean,
other way,
don't
no?
but don't most companies or like in the U.S. Donate to both parties? Like they'll donate to the Republican Party and they'll donate to the Democrats as well, kind of playing both sides, giving everybody money, and then, you know, when the winter comes, they come knocking on the door. Hey, yeah, we were part of this and we helped you out, and this is what we want, right? Pay to play or whatever you want to call it, but I can't imagine just these big billion-dollar organizations picking the one. Yeah, let's put our money on this guy. I'm sure they're spreading the money everywhere, right? No?
Yeah, exactly.
Talking
It's just a bit naive just to think they only benefited one party.
Yeah.
fair enough. But talking about like political interference, so recently we saw the attack on Mandirs here, and then I had some thoughts on that. But do you think that's politically coordinated also, or do you think they're like foreign interference affecting that stuff, or do you think it's just local hate?
That's a hard one, man.
It could be either way, man. It could just be either way.
At first,
I don't know.
let's who gets caught. Just catch the culprits. I mean, that's the first thing.
But the CCTVs and stuff weren't active at this time.
Yo,
regardless of-
you might as well go off on this because I have a lot to say on this. This is
I mean, okay, so this is where I'm at. One, the spelling was horrible. Right? Like they're messing up the spellings. And I think they said this, or I think I saw something where a mandir got vandalized somewhere else in the world with the exact same spelling mistakes.
Oh wow.
So it's kind of like that. And then you had what happened in Australia where they caught guys who were kind of like,
Yeah.
who kind of eventually got forced to kind of come clean that, okay, we were, you know, they didn't say the consulate sent us. They were just said, they kind of just like alluded to them being, they were troublemakers trying to reverse the scene. So I don't know. Do I believe that it was Sikhs who vandalized the mandir? No, I honestly, this is where I am usually not as conspiratorial. This just feels so amateur hour that I have to believe the incompetence of the whole thing.
okay.
Leads me to accept that it's a conspiracy. Because when it comes to conspiracies, I always go to the side of how dumb is it? Is it really dumb? All right, it's no longer a conspiracy. It's something I can believe because people and governments are dumb. Bureaucrats are dumb. The dumbest ideas will. So someone at the consulate is like, no, if we do this, we could let's do this. Then all the Sikh MPs, all the conservative MPs, will have to say this, and the number of tweets coming out from every single corner of politics condemning the hate. The good ones are the ones who said all types of hate are being condemned, but it just feels such like a bad, obvious political ploy that I'm like, yeah, this is a setup.
Look, if it's a setup, it could be a deep state India thing or it could be hate. I'm not convinced either way. What irks me is the stupid justifications that you just fucking floated. Spelling errors? I mean, are you kidding? Have you
Margaret
seen
Pinderwale.
Wait,
The great
people
Margaret Pinderwale.
people can't spell in English whatsoever. I got a resume today and the guy spelled resume wrong. A student from India, okay? People who don't speak English correctly, how they spell things in English is always wrong. Everybody, doesn't matter who it is, a government agent or a Punjabi guy who's pissed off at what Modi's doing, that spelling error there is so stupid. Oh, he didn't spell it with an E. Everybody usually spells it with an E. Both ways are correct.
No one
You've
says
seen it.
martyr Pinderwale
Okay.
like that. If there's
Anyways, the other thing, but the CCTV, like not being available. Do you know how many times in Canada, in Toronto and Ontario, Golics have been robbed by people, and they are never ever caught. That they don't get the CCTV right on their face. Like, what happens to those times? Those cases just go down to nothing. No one ever talks about it. When Gurdwaras get robbed, things happen at the Gurdwara. We're not saying, oh, it was, inside job by the committee. They got the money, right? No, we say, okay, shit happened. And the lack of CCTV video is not in itself evidence that there's something afoot, okay? So, going back to what I was really saying, it could be something that's a deep state thing, just trying to cause some beef here, which, I don't put it past something that India would do, because India would do it, Israel would do it, Russia would do it. Like, why not them, right? But what also irks me is this was a moment where Sikh organizations in Canada or in Toronto, or especially in the GTA, could say, look, this is probably a deep state thing, but if it wasn't, we condemn this. This is wrong. I don't see it. I see politicians doing it. I don't see any like Ontario Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee. I don't see other Gurdwara committees saying anything. No one's saying this is wrong.
I saw WSO say they condemn any sort of attacks.
WSO, fine. Other than that,
that's a prominent
other
Sikh
than
org.
that, other than that,
so we have
other than that.
So how many Sikh orgs do we have? Right, we have WSO. Are you saying was it the Sikh Youth Federation didn't put out a statement? And who else were you expect? Ontario Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee. Okay.
Anybody who loudly blames India and spoke about India interference should just be as loud about this.
I'm just curious
because if even in the face of suspected interference, they could say, if this interference, we condemn it, and if it was actually done by somebody of like the Sikh community, then that's wrong too, because how places of worship are off limits for anything disrespectful. Doesn't matter what it is. No one says it. No one says it. I've never seen anything like it from our community.
I think we should check Ranjit's garage for the can of spray paint.
Yeah,
that's my first inkling for this conversation.
Yeah.
The glove fits. My view from it is if it was someone from the Sikh community who did something so idiotic, that's exactly what it is. It's idiotic. You can't paint a whole community based on the actions of one stupid individual. So that's that. I think we all think it was stupid. If it was, like you guys implied or alluding to, some deep state or some ploy by the Indian government, what's with the always begging for sympathy angle of all like India-based, they attacked us or they hate us or we're in danger. They do this all the time. It's just an interesting route that they take, in my opinion. And the other thing is, we as Canadians are going to get to a tricky situation where these kind of occurrences are going to happen a lot more frequently, testing our community. And I don't mean just our Punjabi community. I mean community of the other communities we live next to. And it'll be interesting to see if we can kind of, put the fact that we're not in India. We live here together. We are part of one community, and hopefully this kind of shit doesn't escalate to something that's crazy like in the UK. Where basically
that actually scares me. Yeah,
that's that's
an interesting thing there though, because let's say for most of our lives here, we've lived in pretty good unity with everyone.
We're peace.
Like with all there's banter, there's jokes between communities to a little bit, but there hasn't been any sort of like hard violence or attacks.
There's no hate. No hate. No.
It's just kind of like okay.
We obviously have the from history with 84 that wound is there, right? So that's always part of it.
But this guy thought he was clever turning his video off to hide this, to stabilize his connection.
They got me. Raji has a button.
Just randomly fix you.
Pressing it under his desk. No, I'm just saying with the wound of '84, that tension's always there, right? I mean, that's not something that's going away, but it hasn't stopped our community to function and treat other people with respect who live beside us, because those conversations don't come up on a daily occurrence. And the more segregated, if anyone's gone to the UK, it's insane. You know, it's nuts. It's literally like little countries at war with one another all the time.
I feel like that's karma for what the British tried to do with the world.
No,
Dividing it up in little parts, and now UK itself is divided.
No, the Gaudy are happy. It's us. We're the idiots. I'm talking about our communities, right? We're the they in their eyes. Oh, they do this kind of stuff. They can't get along. So I think it's going to test our Canadian resolve, if you want to call it that, in the future. And my hope is that as our population grows, with obviously all the inbound students and the new PRs and XYZ, that we kind of stick to the way we've always been. But if we get into this kind of...
Is this what we're saying? The people coming here now don't have the same morals, and it's just a different country? Yeah.
You know, when you are... It's not the same morals. I mean, I don't, that's the wrong word. I think if you don't think it's strange, the animosity. But, you know, if you don't feel like, that you put, we put technically our Canadian value, whatever you want to call Canadian values. I don't mean to, I don't know how to describe that. The way we live. That's what first. We don't think about what's happening in India and how we live. Maybe Ranji, but the rest of us on a daily basis do not want to live like people do in India, have a government like that. So people coming here now, are they going to be exposed to the way we grew up? Or as these occurrences happen, more segregation increases, our community leaders maybe not taking a leading stance? Is that going to kind of... through osmosis, start to become the normal way we kind of conduct ourselves here in the future.
But isn't it ironic that a lot of this stuff seems to have like really the tension-wise, not even since the farmers' protest, but even before that, right around the time of like Modi actually getting elected, that there's been this a lot more vocal coming pro-India stuff.
I always think I think it's depending on the person. You know, I think if there's someone who was born here like us, and let's say if he's Gujarati and he's born here, there's never that. I've never had a discussion with that person about Modi and why we think Modi's good or bad. It's not part of your daily life, you know. But if someone's come here maybe in the last 3-4 years and they were a supporter, they're still living in India. They're not living in Canada. India's everything. They're reading the news. They're IPTV's on all day, and
the only time
those news channels are, right?
Yeah, the only time me and my Guju neighbor have discussed anything like this is when I told them I went to go door knocking in a very Guju area, and they all thought I was Khalistani and bitched me out. And that was the only time in about the last 20 years.
And you're like, I'm one of you guys. I'm one of you guys.
I was like, yeah, you better come with me next time I go door knocking there.
You know what's interesting though? There was a thing that someone said that really resonated was when you leave a country. So if you leave India, depending on when you left it, that's the snapshot you take with you of that place. And not only that snapshot of like how everything is, but of the politics and like everything. So when a lot of Sikhs migrated here in the 80s from India, they've carried that version of India with them and that version of Indian politics with them, even though the country itself 30 years later went through countless leaders and stuff. What resonates with a lot of those Sikhs is what they left. Likewise, those who came here in the mid-90s, they saw India a little differently. And now the people leaving India now, they're leaving with a whole different version of that country. Do you think that stuff is affecting what we're seeing here now with beefs or even peace?
Yeah, it's your belief systems. It's your your mindsets that you bring over. I mean, those aren't going to change, but yeah, it's the staunch. I don't know if you guys seen that video. What's his name? Who's a comic? on Netflix. The
Adults?
Hassan Minaj. He's doing an interview outside, and this Modi supporter comes, just starts screaming, yelling at him.
Okay,
You know,
yeah.
you're anti-Modi, you're this and that, just screaming. The guy's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then after he still wants to take a picture with him, he's like, you know, I watch Netflix, and then that's the duality, right? It's like, you know, I hate you because you're anti-Modi, but you know what? You're on Netflix, bro. I still need to take a picture. It's like this two. It's this world that they can't decide what they want to be in. I generally don't think we've had a lot of problems here in Canada between our communities, right? Aside from historical context or obviously with 84, I don't think on a one-on-one basis there's ever been that many problems.
I mean, people
so
would
if-
say Air India
They're coming.
bombings,
They're
right?
coming.
No, but I mean, look, I mean, those things have happened. What I'm saying is not a day-to-day basis. You don't wake up hating your neighbor. The question is, yes, like Ranji just said, is it coming? And that's going to be interesting for us, at least, because we're raising our kids in that, right? We don't know how to deal with it because we've never been in a situation.
Well, it was interesting because I was actually talking to a teacher the other day, and this is someone who taught in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, like an old teacher. And what she suggested was, she's like, it is a different world now, because she said at that time, public schools were that was the only thing people could afford. Private schools were kind of unheard of. But now there's a rise, not only in private schools, but cultural private schools. And I was kind of like, yeah, you know, we're sending our kid to a Khalsa school. And then Muslims are sending their kids to the schools in the mosques or that are connected to their mosques or something. I don't know if in any like Hindu private schools or Hindu things, but I'm guessing they must exist. But they're
Oh, the
saying
rise of xenophobia.
yeah, so they're saying we're pocketing ourselves now in our communities more than ever before.
I mean, that's the start of it. That's the segregation. That's the UK aspect of it. And then, I mean, the real equalizer is university. I mean, if you want to get educated, you still got to go in and talk to everybody else. If you still want to go in the workplace, you're gonna have to put your shit aside and learn how to work alongside your fellow classmate or fellow colleague. So I'm not worried about the schools too much. Yes, it depends if they're indoctrinating them with a certain mindset. Is that just psychotic? Where then they leave and try to facilitate some change in society. That's different. But yeah, the schools are interesting, man. I don't agree with it. I don't think religion should be taught in schools at all. That's just me, not being offensive to anybody regarding that. But I think
Highly
Let's go to-
offended. I won't lie.
no,
My
I don't
words
mean
for
it from.
you.
I don't think it's wrong. In my opinion, I just don't think it should be taught as the primary reason a child is there. Teach them what they need to know, and then you should have religious studies because if that's separate. But
not
know-
start the day with Ardas and Kirtan and then go to class and then.
I mean, if that's what a parent wants. But personally, I don't think it does anything for my kid because that's just me, right? I think in a public school setting, if you have all different cultures, they should all sit there and learn how to work together, and that will be a reflection as they get older.
Yeah.
If they're only going and sitting with their own particular group of friends and they don't know how to deal with other people, even us, how many of us have a lot of friends from another race? I mean, we grew up in Brampton, we went to the same schools. I mean, that's one of the issues, but a lot of us don't know how to get along with other cultures or just kind of tunnel vision in that regard. I mean, I was when I left and went to the UK, and I had to. There was no Punjabis where I was, so it was a very weird relearning, if you will. But that's are we getting away from schools that are mixed?
Yeah, we should have a lot of stories from like my shock in Ottawa.
Yeah, it's a culture shock. But I feel like some of it was just linguistic. Hey, yo, man, just left here. What the fuck? Why are you turning left here? You said left. Oh, shit. What? It's like, oh, yo, what you said? What?
It was just weird, just
Nothing, I
walking
didn't
in
say
university and people not trying to brush you.
Yeah.
It was,
You're the one mean mugging. No one else
it
is.
was so weird not getting brushed. It was such a normal thing.
I felt like my first month of like university, I was just trying to pick a fight with someone. I don't know why.
Yeah, you want to make the rep at the school, right?
It's kind of like, hold on, who's talking shit? Yo, you looking at me? Why you looking at me? Fucking look straight ahead.
No, the best was watching like the guys who were, I don't know what other term I should use, impossible nerds in high school. They were like the cool guys in university all of a sudden. I could not understand it. I'm like, what just happened? What universe am I in? This is not right. Just everything changes, right? But once again, you have to learn how to get along with different types of people. And That's not a skill you can learn if you're closed off in one community. You
Yeah,
can't,
in a bubble.
you know, in a bubble, and you can't. And if that's what we cherish about our country, the fact that we are a mixture of all different types of people, we're going to lose that if we, start that segregation or start these little fights and build animosity and don't have understanding for one another, because then places like India and all these other countries, they win, right? They're just sending people here to destroy what that is, to send their rhetoric, because they obviously don't believe in equality. They have the caste system, which have just come up again in the news recently as well, right? So, I mean,
Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah,
What
go
a
on it. Let's-
stupid motion, man. I mean, what does that do? We are
Nothing.
against caste discrimination. It's like, okay.
No,
Great.
but it's an actual problem. I don't know if you guys saw this thing a while ago that,
I think
especially
we
in the
spoke
IT
about it.
sector. Yeah, in the IT sector, where
Yeah.
they were saying, bombers were being very discriminatory towards anyone who was a lower caste.
I never. Wait, we talked about this.
I don't know if we talked about it, but
I thought we mentioned it a long
we
time
talked
ago.
about a
but-
lot of shit. But there was
Yeah.
it was such a problem that the employers in big IT companies would actively have to deal with this sort of discrimination, and they'd have to try to filter it out or prevent people
Very
from being in those places.
It's very simple. Don't hire based on last name. Just give a person a generic name, interview the shit out of them, get their references, and call it a day. I mean, you've eliminated the caste system problem.
So that resume I was talking about the other day, it also at the bottom had date of birth, father's name, village, religion. I was like, dude, you don't need this shit in a resume in Canada.
But that maybe
It's
that's
actually illegal
but
almost.
Yeah.
I think in India it's required, right? You have to say your caste. Yeah.
And they sign it
There
like
you
a
go.
declaration, like this is all
There you
true.
go. Well, see what they think is normative culture. They're bringing it over here.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, to your end, I think we do need some sort of legislative policies in some regard to prevent.
I guess I've never
Stuff like
seen
that.
it. I guess shouldn't.
But in our country,
speak in haste.
it's illegal.
It should be illegal if it isn't already.
It's just stupid. Other than being the butt of a couple of jokes, that's all it should ever end at. Or that's as far as it should ever go.
But
That's as far as it should ever go.
we're so broken here right now that where like you said, it's discrimination is illegal, but when it comes to renting out basements, people go through the same sort of checks and balances that everyone frowns
the
upon,
world.
right?
But that's the world, man. That's not like a particular
I
problem
guess what I'm
to
trying
our
to get at
community.
is, even though it might be illegal, people are still doing it.
I'd,
and avoiding.
I'd rent my basement to the Khan from Moga before it's judged from somewhere else. So I don't know.
So yeah, I don't know. I think we need some sort of policies, but so I'm not saying the policy or the fact that it was stupid that something like that had to get passed.
That's a good. I mean, you guys brought up that point earlier. Do we think, you were saying what's normative in their countries? Will they bring that over more readily? That is pretty normative.
Yeah, I
Right?
guess.
That discrimination, if that becomes part of the,
I just
normal
figure
way
that's
books-
the first thing to go as soon as you come here. And again, other than being the butt of a couple of jokes,
I've
actually,
felt people not like Punjabis, and when I've been working, that's been strange.
yeah, but that's not a caste thing.
That's
It's essentially it's essentially a caste thing.
No,
When
it's
it's
not.
coming from an Indian person, yeah, it is.
I'm talking about you guys are both Punjabis. Are you?
Yes, for
Them
sure.
being
I'm just
biased
saying,
against
I'm talking about the thinking from back home of differences and acting on those differences.
Yeah. I mean, people.
And being so hard line on those differences. It's like, yeah, people can't get around just to have a conversation without. I mean, it's weird when someone's the same race as you. I always found that, I'm always on that, kind of ready for that racism to, oh, this guy's gonna be racist to me. When it's your own person, you get thrown back. You're like, wait, why don't you like me? And you're like, oh,
I don't know. I don't know. Last time I think it's like the 10 rupee note. The last time you look at, there's 20 languages on it.
oh wow.
Okay, so India is a very different country in the sense that it's fine. Yeah, we're one race, but we're like a lot of ethnicities in one country. So it's like a mini UN there. Okay, like that we're all just bunched together.
No,
It's
and that's
actually
okay.
it's actually
It's
a bunch
the-
of
it's
different
the-
nations. So
I can respect that. It's the hatred. I don't understand.
but dude, it happens. Like Gujus will say something bad about people from Maharashtra, and people from Tamil Nadu will say something about
But
people from Assam.
if a person of any of those particular backgrounds walks through your door, treat them any different?
Loki, I
have
wouldn't be able to tell the
stereotypes.
difference.
I'll have stereotypes built in my mind.
No, but if you're actually getting down to work and actually just talking beyond that, past the first 30 seconds. No, some of these people keep it going for like 20, 30 minutes. That's what I'm saying. There's a new difference where it's like, well, you're this. Especially if my card's out, that's another one I felt. That one's been interesting.
Yeah,
especially during the protests. That one was interesting. So,
I've seen that. I felt that.
All right. Quickly touching on one final thing. Who the hell is Roald Dahl?
Yo. So I don't even know this guy.
Are you talking about the author, like Ronald Dahl?
Yeah.
Ronald Dahl?
Like the James and the Giant Peach kind of guy?
Yeah, that guy. So
all right, first off, you spelled his name wrong in the notes.
No, it is Roald.
Is it? I thought it was Ronald.
It's not Ronald.
It's Ronald. Isn't it Ronald? No, it's Roald. He's right.
Yeah.
Wow,
Okay.
Randy's right. What about this guy? What happened?
So Puffin Books has changed the words in his books and is rewriting them to make them less mean.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, like he's the guy who did Matilda?
I don't know. I'm not even familiar with his work. The only reason why I know about him is because I started seeing these articles, and the concept is fucked. Apparently, like he's big in the UK. He has books and poetry that are aimed at children.
Novelist.
Oh well, he's
you know his jokes. The first thing I search is Roald Dahl, and it's like a book collection, and we have the exact same book collection sitting literally in my kid's room. We haven't read the books yet because they're too big for him. They don't hold his attention.
Well, it says here in 2020, the website officially apologized for his anti-Semitism, and that's prevalent in some of his stories or comments he's made. He's made racial stereotypes. I mean,
in his books where he called someone fat, they changed it because that's wrong.
Yeah, so he is the guy who wrote Matilda. So yeah, Matilda was. I remember reading that one, and that was pretty mean. His books have a very aggressive British humor to them.
Yeah, fine.
That's,
whatever.
From a certain age.
So it's showing how people really are.
But
I
would mean as shit.
But going back and rewriting his books.
Yeah, I'm against
with
that.
With a more woke tone, that's fucked.
I don't know enough about him.
The pendulum has swung too far.
But there was another guy, the guy who wrote Jungle Book, Ripley or whatever. He was like completely racist.
Buddy, Harry Potter is being friggin' going under the friggin' microscope right now.
That's
friggin' J.K. Rowling's been crucified, and she was like the liberal sweetheart for the longest time.
Wait, what's racist about
transphobic?
Transphobic.
Because of the bathroom thing. That's why.
I mean, and then she donated to conservative or lobby groups.
What's that have to do with her story? What's that have to do with her story? Like,
yeah, it's this whole thing. People are like, "Well, you can't support her in any way. You got to understand this. You got to find the undertones written." I'm like, no one even knew about these. I don't know. It's wild. But yeah,
shit. That guy wrote Charlie Chocolate and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Fantastic.
You've seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with like those kind of those punked off jokes. I actually liked his humor. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's funny.
Any British person raised from 1850 to 1950 was probably had some kind of racist, mean undertones, and not because they were racist. It's
because they thought they were the kings of the world.
The entire society was racist. I mean, that was normal. Like, why are we surprised if it's in their literature? Like, fuck, just move on, man.
But it's not even like racist stuff is getting scrubbed. It's like fat, mean things, like fat, dumb, silly, stupid. Like, that's getting scrubbed.
I think it's okay to acknowledge that we as a society might have moved on from certain topics or think, hey, fat shaming is not cool no more. Wag the finger. But this whole rewriting of books, that's where I gotta like.
Yeah, these books are still on people's shelves. What the fuck are you gonna do about those?
Now you have like the explicit version and the polite version. Like, no, man.
That's like what's it called? It's
like Florida
Walmart version of rap. The rap albums. You got the Walmart version, the non-swearing, and you got the fully explicit. But I mean, that's the publisher, right? They own the rights.
Yeah, but
if they deem that to be appropriate, I think are we too woke? Whatever it is.
Well, it's not even wokeness because conservatives aren't woke; they're awake. It's fucking stupid, man. The fact that something similar happening in Florida where they took books off shelves if they felt that they were too progressive, and now in the UK they're rewriting books.
No. In the Florida thing is basically if it was
gay.
They don't want to talk about the slavery issue. Okay. So a lot of those books deal with historical.
It was pretty widespread. but it's pretty widespread. It
But
wasn't just
a lot.
the children's
But
books too.
the biggest point is they're just trying to wipe out slavery as a history, and or trying to ignore it at least. You know,
Like it never
because
happened.
yeah.
I think whatever. I think both sides of that spectrum of this is our political ideology now, so we're gonna get rid of all books and things and words opposite of
Hitler,
that.
I think Hitler burned books, didn't he?
Yeah,
A lot of
man.
these guys
Like,
burned books, right? This is
both sides are fascist as fuck, man. And I think we gotta get to that point of which side has more fascists. And it
I
seems like
wonder.
they're both racing for it. They're both racing towards it. It's wild though. I don't think Roald Dahl's books need to be rewritten. I don't think anyone's. I think you should just
Nobody's
keep them.
books. Nobody's books should be
No,
written.
they
That's
should
the
be.
point.
They should take snapshots of them and
Yo,
say this
with-
book is reflective of that time, and it's historic.
listen, with all these really fucking AIs and everything else coming out, which one of these fucking kids is going to read a book in the next 10 years?
Yeah,
Okay,
legit.
we're beyond, we're beyond that now, right? Stories.
Oh, man, I should have had
you
AI to Discord.
Just put an AI and write me a new story. There you go, right? I mean, we're changing faster than people realize, right? So it'll be interesting next 10 years if this is even those stories are even remembered, right? So
All right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think
Sounds
we're
good.
all in agreement. Stop rewriting history. Acknowledge it in its way
Stop it,
and
woke.
move it. Stop being awake. Stop being woke. I mean, just don't be ignorant.
unless you have a spray can.
I mean, if you're and don't come on, you guys gotta acknowledge it's so dumb. It's so dumb that it's feasible that a government would think
Oh
that
my
this is a good
gosh.
idea.
He spelled Pindawala with the A instead of an E. Oh my gosh, he spelled Ranjit with an I and not double ET. Come on, man.
Tell me how you really feel. Come on. All right.
It's so stupid.
that note-
When I saw Ball's article saying, I was like, come on, man. You guys are supposed to be smart. You have typos in your articles.
No, I'd be surprised if you find one typo.
I'm joking.
But
I'm
yo,
joking. I'm
if-
just
if-
saying.
Hey, shut up. If you made it this far in the podcast, by all means, please hit that like button. It really helps in, pushing this podcast to other people. I feel like a lot of people watch and listen on YouTube, but they don't hit that like button.
Or like it and write a comment why you dislike it. We'll take that too.
yeah, dislike it in a comment, but make sure you hit the like button regardless. Yes.
If you dislike it, I will find you. I'll spray paint. I mean,
By that he means the government, the Indian government.
He will find you and he will shovel your house with his friggin' shovel. He'll shovel the snow in your house with a shovel and damn it. Kind of
He's not talking about cocaine.
Yeah, not, anyways,
Cocaine Bear gonna watch that.
that movie looks so stupid. I don't even know where we're going to go with that one. Anyway,
The new Air Jordan movie or whatever the
Before
new
we
Michael
end this,
Jordan movie.
I haven't binged a show in ages. There hasn't been a show that I've just like sat down and watched. There's a show called Players. If you're on Plex, it's there. Paramount produced it, I think, or Paramount was the showrunner. I went in with no expectations. Thought it'd be funny. Watched one episode. Ended up watching two more. Had to go do like kid stuff. Came back at night, put the kids to sleep, and ended up binging the entire series, which I've never done in ever. 30-minute episodes.
Premise of the show is
It's a mockumentary on a fictional esports team. Hilarious.
He had me.
God.
He had me. I was about to say, hold my beer. Here I go.
No.
Esports, bro. We're back. We're back at esports. We're fucking back at esports.
Look, I think as someone who hates esports, in your case, you would still like the show because it makes fun of it. I think you'd still appreciate it.
I can't.
It's such a fucking
Can't.
funny show.
The Offer. I told you guys to watch The Offer. Go watch The Offer. Paramount. Great series.
Yo, Paramount
yeah,
shows
that's
My
true.
recommendation.
That's Paramount. Okay, so now we got two TV shows we both recommended. But if you're gonna watch one, watch Players. It's hilarious. And on that note, peace.
Peace.